Did you go home though? Because apparently Matt didn't.
No, we've been grinding. So it's been it's the Thursday night is everyone has the same challenge. So obviously we have to do a bunch of legwork. Obviously last week, but yeah, we've been working on these guys Friday and Saturday. Did a little bit of work, Sunday morning, but it's Thursday night games are a challenge, but it's a challenge for everyone.
So have you done the don't leave the building after, like if you're at home, obviously you can do this, right? But have you done the don't leave the building until like the next day at your other stops in LA or wherever else?
Sure. I mean, it's a thankfully the best thing about it is when you do factor in the fact that you have at least yesterday we were at home, I've had Thursday night games where we've actually been on the road before, and that's an added challenge. But at least we were here last night after the game. So, but it's a grind.
Obvious question: what's the key to stopping Derrick Henry?
Well, I think tackling plan is the key thing, and I've mentioned that to you guys before. Every single back in this league is unique. They're subtly different, but this guy is the most unique just because not only the things that he can do with the ball in his hands, but just his simple size. I mean, simply how big he is. He literally looks like Preston Smith when he breaks the huddle. So that's the biggest thing, is that people just have to understand, especially people that haven't. There's going to be a handful of guys, especially young guys, that they've never played against this guy. They've never seen him. So not only a special back that he can do things when the ball's in his hands, just his sheer measurables it puts him in a complete class by himself. So got to have a tackling plan going up against this guy. And then again, as mentioned, on a short week, it's another challenge. So, but heck of a back, it's going to be a big challenge for us.
Joe, I know in previous weeks you had said you may not have been confident enough to put Rudy back there and move Darnell around. Is it fair to say you're more confident now after what he did yesterday?
Sure, yeah. I mean, confidence was never with Rudy. I think he's grown every single week that he's been here. And then when he's had opportunities, now he got thrust into his opportunity against New England, but did a great job. Not only the two obvious splash plays that he got yesterday that were huge, big takeaways for us, but just he ran around and made plays, and you could see that he's. I don't know if he's completely confident, but he's really confident in what we're doing, especially in the back end.
Joe, what kind of options does Savage give you? From the slide, I know you sent him a couple times on some blitzes. I think he actually kind of helped set up Kenny's sack.
Yeah.
What do you think about him in that capacity?
Yeah, I mean, I think I love that word options. I think having options, especially in the back end, is great. Whether it be, Darnell, whether it be with Rudy. We got Jonathan here now. He hadn't even been here a week yet, but. That just gives you options, especially moving forward.
Joe, what did you like most about how you were able to shut it down once Dallas hit 28? I think they had 4 possessions from that point on.
Yeah. Well, I was upset when it got to 28. We had we had 2 sudden change situations. One of Rudy's interceptions came on a sudden change, which was a big stop for us. We got thrust into another sudden change on the fumbled punt, and we take the mindset whenever that happens. We want to go out and slam the door. Gave up a touchdown there, and then we had a big 3rd down loss later on in the game, which it was 3rd and 9. We lost that 3rd down, which led to another touchdown. But the guys, they were the whole 4th quarter and the whole overtime. They were great on the sidelines. There was never, at least the feeling that we had, even when it was 28-14, we never felt we were out of it. So that was, at least for me to witness from our guys, that was really good to see and good to feel on the sidelines. Then obviously, confidence builds even more, when Aaron gets rolling. We really feed off that. So it was, but to answer your question, it was really good to see, but I never felt like our guys thought that there was ever any doubt that we were going to, end up on the winning side.
When the
That kind of
Titans,
swagger, is that something that you've seen this year in your defense, or was that kind of like you like, wow, they really woke up and got the message and they responded? Have you seen that previous to last night? Overall?
Yeah, it's I tell you guys this all the time, and I know it's hard to, every single game is different. It just no games are ever the same. Situationally, feel everything, but bottom line, it was great for our guys. Just for me to witness that and to feel that there was never any doubt, and that was really cool to see. It was cool to feel.
when you talk about a tackling plan for Derrick Henry, how much of that is just players in their effort swarming to him, and how much of that is that scheme and things that you can do to
I think it's all encompassing. I think obviously the scheme and the call and all that is important, but you have to have a mindset collectively, which I don't think there's a defense out there that ever says, oh, okay, this week we got to play with effort. That's something that we preach and we talk about, but especially when you're dealing with a back like this, it takes all 11, because it's hard just to, if you got an unblocked guy, come on, man, make the tackle. Well, I mean, it's going to take, it's not going to take 1, 2, it's going to take 5, it's going to take 6, it's going to take gang tackles, it's going to take swarming, it's going to take effort. That's something we preach every week, but definitely this week when you're playing against a guy like Henry.
When the Titans played here in 2020, Henry got his, but he was held under 100 yards, which is a lot better than a lot of defenses do against him, obviously. How much do you go back and watch film of that, even though it was a different scheme, and how much do you rely on?
It was the first game that I watched when I kind of shut my brain off, off of the Cowboys and spend a little time on Saturday with these guys, and that was the first game I watched. So did a great job. It was a nice, cold, snowy night in Lambeau, but it was a heck of an effort. I think it was the 2020 season, the COVID year. It was really good, But that was, like I said, that was one of the first things that I watched.
Joe, were you using Savage on those slot blitzes as much to contain Prescott as to pressure him, or is there more that he could do there to, get a sack or whatever?
Well, I mean, of course, every time that you send, an edge pressure with a DB, of course you want to be able to get good pressure if it's pass. But, on early downs, you got to be ready. You got to have a run-pass mindset and feel good about, hey, if they run the ball here or if they throw it. The other thing with them last night, they were such a big bootleg team. We did a lot of that just to make sure that we had good edges on both sides with Dak getting out of the pocket. So those pressures, especially on early downs, are kind of all-encompassing, that you want to be safe. Hey, if you call it, you got a 50-50 chance that it could be run or pass, and really, if it is pass, the bootleg, most importantly, you feel really good about.
Joe, why were the draw plays such a struggle last night?
Yeah,
it seemed like they hit you on those a bunch.
It infuriated me. A couple times, quite frankly, it was just Quay and Isaiah just being young guys, not exactly knowing where to fit with the safety rotation. The one was, thankfully, we got the holding penalty on the one. Dean played the heck out of it and got held. But it was just a simple understanding of, two young linebackers not knowing where their safety fit. But credit out, they did a nice job with that play.
So are you finding to not have Dre in the mix for Thursday?
We're hoping, we were hoping obviously last week, but, it's one of those injuries that, we just got to wait and see, day to day. So, and he's been improving. He's gotten better every single day, but, feeling better than he did yesterday and being able to go out and play an NFL football game on a short week. But I'm being optimistic. I'm hoping tomorrow he's much better than he is today. So, but we've got to wait and see.
Joe, the safety fit, so they're kind of getting out of their gap. Is that what it is? They're moving too far one direction or the other on the draw play?
Yeah, anytime that you have that you're accounting for that you're using a safety in a run fit, when you get blocked as a linebacker, well, if you have a safety, to your defensive left, for example. Well, those two linebackers, they can favor the block to the right, knowing that they have a safety down to the left, and vice versa. If the safety is down in the fit to their right and they get blocked, well, now they can favor on that blocker to the left, knowing that they got that safety. And it was just a couple times they got out of whack, knowing where the safety rotation was. So just you know, and I thought Isaiah played his tail off yesterday. You know, statistically, he had a bunch of tackles and ran around. Did a really, you know, we only dressed 3 inside linebackers yesterday, so they played a lot of ball and did. But they had a couple, especially on those draws, they had a couple things that we had to clean up.
Was there any initial word on Devontae? It's like a banged up late in that game.
Say that again.
Devontae, any initial word? Devontae Wyatt?
Yeah, he was fine. You know, I think we were concerned obviously when he went down, but he came back in and was fine.
Okay, so,
Yeah, and everything from today I think checked out, so I think he's okay.
Joe, if Eric Stokes doesn't get hurt, do you do what you did yesterday with Savage? The reason I ask is when you're able to do it, and Rudy obviously steps up the way he did, sometimes, you know, even if you have a good idea, you don't get to implement it, and you need something to kind of go wrong for it to occur. Would you have done what you did yesterday if Eric had been available?
That's a good question. You know, I don't know. I like to tell you guys all the time that I think options are very good. You know, definitely when it comes to defensive personnels. You know, when you can throw nickel out there and have different people line up in, you know, nickel positions, or if you go dime, or if you go any substitution pattern that you want. So I don't know, but of course, losing Eric, losing Rashawn are huge losses for us. But it was cool that we were able to, in a roundabout way, being able to get Rudy on the field, and he stepped up in his opportunity, which was great to see.
Joe, is it hard for like a guy playing nickel then to go back to safety and in the base? A lot of times a nickel guy, he just comes in, plays nickel, and then he's not in the base or not in the other stuff. But you guys did a little different.
Yeah, not necessarily. You know, I know like back in my Tampa days, arguably one of the greatest nickels to ever play the game, you know, Rondé Barber. You know, Rondé Barber was our starting left corner in base. And then as soon as we went into sub packages, you know, Dwight Smith came in at left corner and Rondé went in at nickel. So I think it all depends on, first and foremost, the individual player, if they can handle that. And Darnell's a guy that can handle, you know, in certain packages playing safety, and then in, you know, certain packages going in and playing nickel. No different than with Rasul. You know, Rasul will be able to still play, you know, nickel as well as outside. Now, some guys can't do that. Some guys exclusively got to play, you know, inside or outside. But when you have options, it's always a nice thing to have.
Good more.
Joe, what'd you think of the pressure that you were able to generate on Prescott? I know he's a different type of challenge, quarterback-wise, but without Rashawn, how you kind of look at that?
Yeah, I think we're still going to have to be, you know, we're going to have to come up with creative ways to do that. Losing to Rashawn Gary, as I told you last week, I used the word grit. You know, what he brings to us just as a demeanor, as a leader, as a, you know, a guy to, you know, I tell all the young guys all the time, if you don't know how to act or what to do in any situation, watch Rashawn Gary. So of course you lose that, but then you simply just what he brings to the table from a production standpoint, from a, you know, creating havoc standpoint. Yeah, you can't replace the player. You can't. So we're going to, moving forward, we're going to have to continue to be creative to get that in his absence. So it's a huge loss.